Been called. Welcome to the Recruiting Blitz with D Squared.
It is time to share your decision. Where are you headed to school?
Ooh, Alabama gets the #1 safety in the country. What was it about Alabama?
LSU Tigers, #1. Go Tigers.
In the next 4 years, I'm going to Denver University.
Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977. Now, here's D Squared.
Welcome, everyone, to this Wednesday edition of the Blitz Sports Radio. And this is the Recruiting Blitz with D Squared. I am Drew DeArmond. Welcome back to another great hour of sports talk here on our streaming channel. Of course, we are the sister station to ESPN 97.7 The Zone. And 97.7 The Zone will be the home of the Super Regionals. They have announced the times now. Just the first game, though. The other two are to be determined. But Alabama and the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, live from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, will be about a 10:55 pregame and 11 a.m. Central Time first pitch. You'll hear that here on 97.7 The Zone. The great Chris Stewart and Roger Hoover on the call as they will be opposite Stan Cotton. Stan Cotton is actually going to join us later in the hour, the longtime voice of the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, and we really appreciate him for joining us today. We're going to talk some Wake Forest baseball with him. He's been very kind to join us. He's going to do that. And it's a huge series. Wake Forest back in the Super Regionals for the first time since 2017. This will be their third Super Regional appearance. They have not been to Omaha, I think, since 1974, I think, is the last time that Wake Forest made the College World Series. So it's going to be a huge opportunity for them. They are the #1 team in the country for a reason. They've had a very special regular season and through the regionals, and they were dominant in the Winston-Salem regional at Wake Forest. And just were a machine, actually, as they just absolutely ran over the opposition there, as they were as the #1 overall national seed. And really, it wasn't a surprise because I felt like when you saw the brackets and the draw, that Wake Forest, they beat George Mason, the 4, in the finals, but they had #3 seed Northeastern, the Huskies, and then #2 seed Maryland. Rob Vaughn and those guys were the champions of the Big Ten, but George Mason only 36-27 overall, but they got to the finals, but none of them were a matchup for Wake Forest. Wake Forest absolutely dominated that regional and won it very, very impressively. And really, that's why a lot of people think they're a heavy favorite over Alabama. We'll see if that is the case. I think Alabama is underseeded. I think Alabama can definitely challenge Wake Forest. Maybe unlike anybody has, but certainly you got to give Wake a lot of credit for how they played this past weekend and the way they dominated because, again, they were not even really challenged. And you just had to give them a lot of kudos. And again, sometimes there's a lot of pressure when you're the #1 team, but they beat George Mason 12-0 on Friday. Then Saturday just absolutely destroyed, in scoring 20-plus runs against Maryland. They just absolutely played outstanding baseball, no doubt about it. They won very, very impressively, 21-6, almost like a football score. And then, as we said on Sunday, George Mason came back through there after they upset Maryland. I believe that game was 11-10. They eliminated them, and so George Mason got back to the finals, but they were no match for the #1 team in the country, Wake Forest. It was a 15-1 final. So as you see, Wake scored double-digit runs in every game, completely dominant, and scoring 48 runs and just absolutely decimating their opponents. 48-7, I think, was the final tally there as they outscored the George Mason twice, and then, of course, as we said, Maryland. So Wake Forest was dominant, and they are going to definitely be a tall task for the University of Alabama. And we're going to talk to Stan Cotton, the longtime voice of the Demon Deacons, here in just a few minutes, and get his thoughts on the Wake Forest season, what Tom Walter's been able to do in his time at Wake. He's done a remarkable job as head coach, building that program, and it's interesting too because they're so loaded, with their pitching staff, that one of the guys on Bama's staff who pitched really well his last time out in that huge start against Kentucky to help Alabama secure a regional host, and that was, of course, Hunter Furtado, the lefty. He transferred from Wake Forest, wasn't probably going to get a lot of mound time. And, again, that just shows you what Tom Walter's been able to do as he's the former Georgetown Hoya in his playing career. But since coming to Wake Forest from New Orleans, he's been at Wake since 2010. Now he's done a remarkable job, with the Wake Forest program, and again helping them reach heights that we just have not seen. And he's done a great job. As he's been to the regional 6 times. With Wake Forest, he's been 3, and now this is the 4th this year. So 4-time in the regionals, and he's been in a super regional since in 2017. This will be his 2nd super regional appearance for Wake Forest, and their 3rd overall. So Wake trying to get to the College World Series, no question about it, for the first time in many, many years. But it would be a significant for them, and they would. Some people would think they're going to be the favorite to win the national championship. Though what we've kind of said though is that the one thing that kind of going that's against them from a betting standpoint is we haven't seen a number 1 overall seed go to and win the national championship since the Miami Hurricanes under Jim Morris in 1999. They are the last team to be number 1 heading into the playoffs and to win the national championship. But Wake Forest is certainly talented enough to do it, and they have maybe the most well-rounded team in the country, and that's why they're 50-10. And even though they didn't win the ACC tournament, certainly that was won by the Clemson Tigers. But Wake Forest, and that may have been a good thing for them. They had a chance to rest, no doubt about it, and they've got a chance now to get back to Omaha for the first time in many moons. And don't forget, they actually did win the national championship in 1955, the NCAA champs. So no doubt, and they won the ACC regular season championship this year. So, but we're looking forward to talking to Stan Cotton in just a few minutes. But before that, we're going to hear from Alabama. They met the media yesterday. Interim head coach Jason Jackson, who's done a remarkable job. Senior right-handed pitcher Garrett McMillan, who will very likely take the bump in Game 2. We'll see, though. Again, Jason Jackson, I don't think he's committed to his pitching plans, but usually Luke Holman goes on Friday, Garrett McMillan on Saturday, and Jacob McNary, who was remarkable in making all-tournament, he'll go on Sunday if necessary. But Andrew Pinckney, the All-SEC outfielder, Jason Jackson, and Garrett McMillan spoke to the media, and we're going to bring you that here on this edition of the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio.
All right, thanks for being here today, guys. We're excited about this week. We were off yesterday, so today is our first practice for Super Regional Prep. We know that we have a really good team ahead of us in Wake Forest. They've had a really good season. They have a really well-rounded ball club, some numbers that really jump off the page at you on the mound and offensively. But we're excited about this week. We're excited to get going with regional prep. We got a great ball club too. It's going to be a really fun Super Regional, and our guys are excited to get after it. So,
okay, Aaron. Coach, over these last few weeks, what has it meant for you? And you've seen the guys interact with them. What has it meant to them, the community, to kind of wrap their arms around them the way they have?
I mean, and I don't want to speak for them, but I know for all of us, it's been awesome to see the way our university, our fan base, the community has rallied around these guys. And I think I said this before in here is, I've always felt like this place was special and we have such a great culture here. And I've always felt like that. And then the past month or so, I think you've seen it even more so than what I even thought. So yeah, it means a ton. And I know these guys feel the same way, I think. So.
Left side, Mike.
For all three of you, just how nice is it to play a game during the day compared to playing in the middle of the night?
Golly, man, yeah, it'll be different, right? Like I don't think I went to bed before 3 a.m. the past 3 or 4 nights. So nice to sort of recover a little bit yesterday and try to get back on some sort of a normal sleep schedule. But we go from playing midnight baseball to breakfast baseball. But that's part of it. That's kind of like how it is in Hoover. Sometimes you play late at night, sometimes you play in the morning, and I think we've kind of gone through enough that we'll be prepared for whatever is thrown at us. So
Just for players, what was it like playing in the middle of the night?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely later than I would have liked to, but I don't know. It's the same game. The pitcher's still 60 feet 6 inches away, so just taking it like that and just taking it a pitch at a time is how I dealt with it.
Yeah, I think we were ready to play regardless. We didn't really care what time it was. We were just ready to go, and once our name was called, we were just ready to get after it. So I think it'll be the same way this weekend. If we're playing at 12 o'clock, we're playing at 6 o'clock. No matter what time we play, I think we'll be ready to go.
Up front here, Max.
Yeah, can you guys just break down? I'm sure you guys looked at Northwestern yesterday. I know, of course, you did, but can you just break down what you see? Not Northwestern, sorry, Wake Forest. Sorry about that. But can you guys break down Wake Forest?
yeah, we're not just. It jumps off the page at their pitching numbers, right? They play in a ballpark that really, is known as one of the more offensive ballparks, in the country, and for them to put up those kind of pitching numbers speaks volumes of what they've done on the mound. So I think their starting rotation really jumps out at you. They got a couple guys that have a lot of home runs, and I think that they've been a really consistent team, and they've been a really dominant team all year. So they're a very good team, and I think we have a very good team. I think it'll be a really good super regional.
Front on the left, Tony.
Yeah, forgive me if you guys have already addressed this earlier in the season, but you guys have rolled with the camo hats. Is there a story behind that? Is it a good luck thing? And if so, just kind of what is it?
I'll let these guys answer that.
I think we're just going with the look at this point. We just like the way they look a little bit better. Yeah, we play good in them, so that helps as well.
Yeah, I think it's just, I don't know, we just started wearing them one day, and everybody seemed to like them. We just won the game when we wore them, and I think they're just keeping it rolling. So,
is there a little bit of a superstition involved, or do you feel luckier or better at all in them?
I think the guys kind of started out like that, and I think now it's just we like the camo hats more than the red hats, and I don't know. I let everybody else make that decision for me. So,
In the back here in the blue.
Hey, Coach, obviously this is an unbelievable team you're going up against, number one team in the country. Are you guys treating it as in you're 2 wins away from the College World Series, or are you just addressing this like it's any other series, like an SEC season or series earlier in the year?
Yeah, we're going to try. I don't think you have to. The guys are going to be fired up. They know we're playing in a super regional. We're not going to try to downplay that, right? But I think that the beauty of this team, and one of the things that's made this team so special, is they are an older team with a lot of experience, and even though they haven't been in a super regional, they carry themselves like they've been there. And I think we'll do a good job this week of keeping everything as much as we can, business as usual, But I know there's going to be some extra excitement. We're not going to, pretend that there's not, right? But I think our focus and what these guys have been able to do is continue to keep the main thing, focus on going 1-0 in game one, and go from there.
Right side of the yellow.
For Garrett, I think asking Hoover is about being part of this competitive pitching staff and how you guys kind of push each other. When you came in here, when did you first see that? Was this something that's passed down, you think, from staff to staff? How do you guys build that kind of culture? Being competitive?
I definitely think coming in, it was competitive coming in. You're always working for a spot to be on the pitching staff. So, just having that when you came in, just always working or competing against trying to get up into the pitching staff. It built it kind of, and then kind of the same guys are here from last year. So it just kind of carried over this year and got a little bit more intense, I guess you would say.
Yeah, in terms of the game stuff, you guys are always kind of keeping busy in the dugout.
Oh yeah, that's been pretty consistent since we've been here as well.
They compete at everything.
Up front on the left, Austin.
Yeah, JJ, a little bit different question with, this year, a lot of non-regional hosts advancing. There's some weird matchups in the super regionals, and then you've got 2 hosts with you guys in North Carolina. What would you think about kind of a situation where in the future they may decide to reseed hosts once it gets to the super regionals?
Yeah, somebody else brought that up. I could see where that would work, That's for people above my pay grade to make those decisions, but, it is what it is right now, and, we're we're really excited to go play this weekend, but in the future, I mean, you could see where that would work. I'm sure there's a lot of factors that go into that we don't even think about, but I have heard people, say that kind of stuff, so.
Up front here, Tony.
Excluding the last game, you guys have been involved in a lot of close games since postseason play has rolled around. How do you think that will help you against a team like Wake Forest, where every game's going to be such a battle?
Well, I think just in our league, you get used to playing in close games, right? And I heard the old Texas A&M coach Rob Childress said this one time, and I was watching a game, and he said this, and it always stuck with me. They did one of those in-game interviews that we all love so much, and they asked him during the interview about I think they had just come to the league. They had just come into the SEC, and they asked him about playing in the league, and he said, in this league, you have to play really well every single night, and if you play really well, you'll have a chance to win a close game late, and that just had always stuck with me because that really sums up our league, I think, right? Like you're going to be in close games week in, week out, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every week you play. You feel like you're playing a super regional every single weekend. And so you get comfortable playing in those games. You get kind of used to playing in those games, and you're not tight or you're not pressing. You're like, yeah, of course it's 3-3 in the 6. This is what it always is, And you wait for somebody to get that big hit or make that big pitch, and so that kind of can push you on top. But I think just going through the league, helps with that stuff.
Right here, Max again.
Yeah, I was wondering if you want to talk about your pitching plan for this weekend. Is it kind of just going to mirror the regular season?
Yeah, we're not going to announce anything yet, but probably keep everything pretty close to normal.
Up front here, Kennington.
Sir, Andrew, all regional team selection, how would you just kind of characterize your development from McIntosh to here, where it's kind of culminating in strong postseason play?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of had to grow a lot as a player since I've been here, and work really hard with Coach Price and getting stronger, and work hard at the plate and making better decisions on the pitches I'm swinging at. And I think that's all kind of come together, and had a good little stretch here where it's kind of shown itself, and I've gotten some recognition. So.
Back here, Carrie.
Hey Jason, I wanted to ask you, you touched on the experience level of your players and the maturity. How much has that impressed you, just seeing what this team has had to deal with and overcome, just with all these changes, especially right before postseason? And what have you possibly learned as their coach going through something like this?
Yeah, I mean, you learn, first of all, to answer the second question, you learn the value of experience, right? And not that I think we've known that, but you're good when you're old, right? The best teams are usually the older teams, and especially in our league. But these guys impress me more and more every single day. Every day we come to the ballpark and there's something new that these guys do that I'm like, man, just the way that they've handled everything, and just the fight and the resilience and the way they can focus and block things out and the way they play together, and just the way they handled each day has been, each day I come to the ballpark and I'm more impressed than I was the day before with this group. So.
Right on the left, Austin.
Yeah, you mentioned a little bit Wake Forest starting rotation, if not the best, one of the best in the country. How do you feel like your guys like Luke and Garrett and Jacob step up to them?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's going to be a really, good weekend of baseball, right? I think you got two really good teams. You got two really deep pitching staffs going at it. You've got two really good offenses, and like I said, you look at their numbers and they all jump off the page at you, and you look at our numbers and you're like, our numbers are pretty dang good too, So, I love my guys. I ain't trading them for anybody. I can tell you that.
Over here with Aaron.
Andrew, the scoreboard shot that you hit against Troy, where would that rank in the ones that you've hit in your career?
Yeah, it was definitely one of the best swings of my life. I'm glad I got to kind of watch that one go out. My dad's not very happy about the old watch it go over the fence or whatever, but I'll just let him deal with that, I guess.
You guys got anything else? All right, Will?
For both players, obviously a lot's been talked about the type of challenge it is to go into number one's place in a setting like this, but on the flip side, talk about the opportunity it is to go and play them in this situation, being as good as both teams are and having the opportunity to obviously to go to the promised land.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a big opportunity to go to the College World Series at any point, but to be playing the number one team, it's kind of sets you up when you get there to make a good run at it as well. I mean, once you're there, I mean, it's just playing a game, like he said, and just competing every pitch and just battling with them until the end. So we'll just play our best game and see who comes out on top.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's just, the game's still 27 outs, and they still have to get us out 27 times, and the team that plays the best is gonna make it home. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it.
Friday game, anything?
For the players, the other night, your coach said something to the effect of, one reason why the team is so successful is because the love for the program outweighs the love maybe that your opponent has for their program. What does it mean for the both of you to help lead your team to this point where in the Super Regionals for the first time in over a decade?
I mean, I wouldn't say that specifically, but I mean, the love that we have for each other just because of all we've been through and just everything we've been through this season, I mean, we definitely care for each other a lot. So, I mean, we believe in each other. I mean, every time somebody goes up to the box, even when we were down the other day, like in the last inning, we fully believed that we were going to come back and win that whole time. I mean, even when he hit the ground ball, it's like we were saying after the game, like even when he hit the ground ball, you still felt like, oh man, something's about to happen right here, and ended up like threw it away and then ended up winning the game. So we just have a lot of belief in everybody, and I think it helps us in the long run.
Yeah, I think it's just a really battle-tested group. I mean, last year we lost so many one-run games, so I think that experience has just helped us kind of roll with the punches and not lose hope when things don't necessarily go our way all the time. So.
Front back.
Yeah, obviously, you still have some games left, but no matter how the season ends, how are you guys going to remember what happened to you this year?
I mean, I thought it was a really fun season. I just, I like playing baseball, and playing in the SEC is really fun. So, obviously, I want to go to Omaha. I want to win the national championship. So, that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, right now, you're so busy and you're so focused on each day and trying to take care of the things you need to do that day to get better that day that you try to take a step back sometimes and reflect on what these guys have been able to accomplish. And I know that probably once it's all over, it'll take some time to sink in, but I think we'll all reflect back and have a lot of good stories and a lot of good memories of what this team's been able to do. And just like G-Mac was saying, just the bond that they have, that stuff's never going to go away. And it's such a special team. So I think it'll take some time once the season's over probably to sit back and reflect and let it all sink in. But right now, I think everybody's just focused on what we got to do each day. Aaron?
For any of you guys, there's been a lot of talk about playing number one, but you guys also play in the SEC. You go on the road in the SEC. You know how difficult that is. How has that, I think, prepared you for this challenge?
Yeah, I mean, we've had to go on the road and play the number one team probably 2 or 3 times this year, honestly, if you think about it, going to the SEC. So, I mean, it's not going to be anything we haven't done before. It's going to be something we're ready for and something that we're excited for. I mean, I think we'll go out there and play our best game, and I think we'll be happy with the results at the end of it.
Anything else, Garrett? All right.
That was Garrett McMillan and Andrew Pinckney. Garrett McMillan, of course, as we said, been the Saturday starter since coming back from injury with his shoulder. He missed the first half of the season. Andrew Pinckney, all SEC outfielder, really come into his own, gotten better each and every year. A former walk-on, which is a tremendous story, who's become all SEC, gotten after redshirting his freshman year, the last 3 seasons, just continued to progress and get better. Jason Jackson, you know the story, interim head coach, who had to take over back in early May for since dismissed Brad Bohannon, done a remarkable job, and now they're going to face Tom Walter. And let me correct myself. I said 74. I think that was the Penn Quakers. Wake Forest, amazingly, has not been back to Omaha since 1955, and they won it all that year. Have not been back since. They've been to the Super Regionals. This will be their 3rd trip, their last being in 2017 under longtime coach Tom Walter, who has been there. This is his 14th year that he's nearly completed, but this is his best team. There's no question about it. They ended last year in heartbreaking fashion at Maryland in the regionals and did not reach the Supers a year ago. And I believe UConn came out of there. And so they kind of have definitely been on a mission all year. They got revenge against Maryland, who came to their regional. We mentioned that at the start of the show, 21-6. They sent Maryland to the losers bracket. Maryland drops the 11-10 game to George Mason. And then, as we know, Wake Forest beats George Mason 15-1, 48-7. The Demon Deacons, number 1 team in the country, outscore their opponents in the Winston-Salem Regional. So they're on a roll. There's no doubt about it. And they are a very confident group and a veteran group that had a lot of expectations. They were picked by the media to win the ACC championship. They certainly did that, and they've lived up to the hype, and they have some outstanding talent. And we're going to talk about that with the longtime voice of the Demon Deacons, Stan Cotton, who is this is his 27th year with Learfield in being the voice of the Demon Deacons, and that is the big three as far as football, basketball and baseball. But let's not misunderstand, too. He's called national championship seasons, 5 of them at Carson Newman earlier in his broadcasting career, as he was the original voice of Carson Newman football. Also a national championship season at Marshall, and since 1996 has been the voice of the Demon Deacons, and he's going to join us in a few minutes. But before we go on break, don't forget to download our app, the Blitz Sports Radio app, so you can listen to this show each and every day from 9 to 10 a.m. And don't forget Bailey Lowry and Captain Cool John Abraham. They will bring you quality sports talk, the afternoon blitz later today from 2 to 4, and our sponsor, Alumni Hall, alumnihall.com. They do a great job. They've since moved from the Bridge Street Town Center, their old location just down from the Apple Store, still at Bridge Street, but they are next to Belk. That's temporary, and in August they're going to move to their new digs next to Buckle. They're going to add Tennessee to their repertoire, but right now, if you're in Alabama and you're an Auburn fan here in the Rocket City, go see them. They can take care of all your needs. You got graduation presents from college and high school, and also you got Father's Day coming up in June. We just had Mother's Day. They can take care of it for you. And if you need another squad, they've got in their network, go to alumnihall.com. They have very reasonable shipping. If you spend $100, it's free. And also join their Hall Pass Rewards program. Give them your email. And you can, of course, with their social media, their Instagram, their Twitter, their emails, they'll tell you about their sales coming up. They do flash sales and things of that nature. And so they do a great job. And they have their Hall Pass Rewards for every $150 you spend, you get 10 free bucks. So they do a great job, and then we wouldn't be here without Alumni Hall. But we're going to go on a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Stan Cotton and talk some Wake Forest Demon Deacon baseball here on this Wednesday edition of the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio. I'm D Squared.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Philip Love of not only Eagle Insulation, now he represents Eagle Companies. Eagle through the years have added several companies to help individuals or builders through their construction renovation process. Eagle is known to represent quality, efficiency, and professionalism. Philip, I know you do insulation, but do you do masonry?
We do.
Do you do grading, erosion control, and dirt hauled off?
We do.
Do you do after paint, which includes shower doors, mirrors, shelving blinds, and bath hardware?
Yes, we do, Wes.
Do you do landscaping and irrigation?
Yes, we do.
So basically, Eagle can help you all along your process of building your house or doing renovations. So do you do plumbing?
We do not, Wes, but we can find somebody to do it.
Just give them time. They'll be there. Anyway, call Eagle Insulation at
256-755-1556.
Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Call Eagle today.
Thanks, Wes.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seat, managing partner of University Kia, letting you know we are proud supporters of Crimson Tide football. Stop into University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including the all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com for all our great offers. And get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today. Because we want to see you in a Kia. Roll Tide!
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Okay, Sarah, I'm dropping you at Emily's, and Josh, you're going to soccer, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, and by the way, when I pick you up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What? No!
Yep, me and my short shorts doing my daddy dance. Your friends will love it.
No!
Well, I might change my mind if you buckle your seatbelts.
Okay, we're buckling up. See, all buckled.
Whatever it takes, keep them safe. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Welcome back to the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio. I'm D Squared. We're about to have a very special conversation with one of the best broadcasters in the business. He's certainly going to have the privilege of bringing everyone via the Learfield and the Wake Forest Demon Deacon Radio Network. It's sold out, by the way. No shock there. David F. Couch Ballpark. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere. Number one team in the country hosting number 16 overall seed Alabama. Wake Forest and Tom Walter came into the season hungry with a lot of expectations. They've certainly lived up to that. I know they were ranked number 6 in the preseason by D1 Baseball. They're number 1 right now, 50-10 overall, and as we said, 48-7. They outscore in their 3 games in the Winston-Salem Regional as they just really boat raced everyone. It's going to be quite a task for the Alabama Crimson Tide. You're going to be able to hear that series on 97.7 The Zone. But Stan Cotton, who's in his 27th year with the Wake Forest Radio Network, has been kind enough to join us and stick with me when I get Eastern and Central time zones messed up. But I appreciate him for sticking with us and coming on with us right now, and it's an honor to speak with him. And Stan, welcome to the show. You're with Drew DeArmond. Thank you for coming on with us.
You bet, Drew. Don't worry about Central Time, Eastern Time. I started thinking to myself, now wait a minute, maybe I messed that up, because usually I'm the one that's doing that. But glad that we could hook up and talk a little baseball, and it should be a lot of fun this weekend, that's for sure.
It should be. I mean, and talk about this program that Tom Walter's built. I mean, this is his 14th year. He's been there since 2010. I know they went to the Supers in 17. This is, I think, the 3rd Super appearance for Wake. And I had to correct myself. In my head, I was thinking that I knew they won it all in 1955, but I was thinking they had made one appearance in between that, as far as since then, in Omaha, and that this would be maybe the second one if they beat Alabama since that time they won it all. But I had to correct myself. They did not make an appearance in the 70s. They have not been back since they won it all in 1955. That's really hard to believe.
Yeah, it's been a long drought. Back in 17, Wake made the Gainesville Super Regional.
They did.
And the Deacs were an out away from beating Florida, and the Gators, of course, went on to win the national title. But, Wake's played some good baseball over the years, but you have to, get it to a certain level to get past the Super Regionals and into the College World Series, and just, Wake's not been able to do it, despite having some really, really good baseball teams. Had some great teams in the late 90s, early 2000s. The team 6-7 years ago, the one that went to Gainesville was really, really good. This one's built a little bit differently, I think, and maybe built as, well, I don't think maybe. I think this, since I've been here, no question, this is the best baseball team Wake's had. And the reason it's so good, Drew, I think, is they're just so balanced on both sides. I mean, pitching, hitting, They hit for average. They hit for power. I think their pitching staff is elite when you look at their numbers and up and down the batting order. They've got guys who can pick up and do special things. It doesn't have to be a guy like Brock Wilken, the third baseman, who hits cleanup and is a couple of home runs away from tying the ACC's all-time record. He's already Wake's all-time leader in home runs, and doesn't have to be him every game. And that's the good thing when you can have a freshman like the shortstop who hits ninth, Merrick Houston, who's elite defensively with his glove. He's not hitting much higher than 200, but every now and then he can pop the thing out of the ballpark. So they've got really, really good balance, and I just think they're built for the long haul. And doesn't mean they're going to beat Alabama this weekend. You know, baseball is a fickle thing, and I don't care what the numbers were yesterday. It all is about what you do today, and so. You know, I think it'll be a really good series. It wouldn't shock me if it goes the entire 3 games, and you know, each of these games is tight. That's the way most super regionals are, and should be a lot of fun.
Well, and Stan, I know that David F. Couch ballpark, it's considered an offensive park. I mean, they scored a ton of runs this past weekend, but that makes it all the more remarkable with how good the pitching staff's been. And when you look at statistically what Rhett Lauder's done, now 2-time ACC Pitcher of the Year, when you're 14-0, I don't care who you're pitching against. That's very difficult to do, and this is a guy that's a first-round pick and really sets the tone for them each and every Friday.
Yeah, and I get, you know, Wake's Park, David F. Couch Ballpark, it's kind of a reputation of being, you know, a small park. And the wind does typically blow out, and that certainly helps. And it is just 300 down the right field line. Now, it's 400 to straight center. There's some corners out there in both the right and the left field alleys. So I think some of that reputation is unwarranted, but now on the right side, the ball does really, really carry. But, you know, if you're, you know, hitting the ball 375, 400 feet, doesn't matter if the fence is 300, you know, if it carries it by 100. So, you know, you have to look at each of those home runs. But, yeah, the ball does tend to carry at this ballpark. But it carries for the home team, carries for the visitors. And your point about Wake's pitching is certainly well taken. I use the word elite with the staff, and I think the numbers point that out. And right at the top of the heap is, you know, Rhett Lauder. I mean, he's 14-0, and you know, I'm looking at the numbers right here exactly. His ERA is, you know, 1.77. So I mean, you know, how can you get much better than that? I mean, he's just been fantastic. He's got 4 pitches that he will throw at any point. It doesn't matter what the count is. He's got, you know, faith enough in his pitches to do that, and the other pitchers are very similar. So I just, you know, when you have a staff like that, and they've done it consistently, it's not just over the last 2-3 weeks. I mean, this has been from point A to right where we are now. This has been a staff that's been very reliable. They throw a lot of strikeouts. They don't walk anybody. I mean, this past weekend, it's 50 strikeouts and 10 walks.
I'm telling you.
And it's just, you know, some of the numbers are just off the charts. And, you know, we'll see if it continues. Again, it's baseball is kind of a weird deal. Sometimes the numbers just go south on you, but we'll see.
No, I mean, it's amazing in this offensive era. And that's, even though they changed the bat several years ago, it's still an offensive sport. And a 2.78 team ERA for Wake Forest is amazing. You know, and I know going into the season, Rhett Lauder, Josh Hartle were getting a lot of kudos, and rightfully so. They've done a great job. But, you know, Keener, Sullivan, they've been big. And then, but talk about the bullpen too, because we're going to talk Alabama and get your thoughts. I know you've been studying Alabama. Alabama's bullpen is kind of been revamped halfway through the year. It's been interesting. They've got some arms back from injury, and now they're a lot different. And that's what makes the matchup so intriguing. But talk about the depth of this staff, though, and the bullpen too, which makes Wake Forest so tough.
Yeah, it is a deep staff, and you know the last 2-3 weeks, you know, Sean Sullivan, who's got 10 starts. Just a powerful strikeout guy, 101 strikeouts and only 18 walks. Had a little elbow deal, you know, wasn't overly serious, but they pulled back on him and over the last week and a half, starting with the ACC tournament, bringing him out of the bullpen a little bit. But he's really a starter. Seth Keener's only got 7 starts all year, and here's a guy with 86 strikeouts and only 16 walks, and he did a fantastic job kind of filling in for Sullivan. And he comes in and pitches so well, you're thinking, well, they're going to keep him in the starting rotation, and they could. But, I mean, Sullivan's been the guy that's been doing it all year. So, I think Sullivan's going to move back at some point. And hopefully for Wake, it's past this weekend in the World Series, back into the starting rotation. But, yeah, I mean, and you go through and look at a guy like Reed Mascolo and Cole Rowland, Michael Massey, just on down the line. These guys have been so consistent all year, and they are kind of a smaller version. The bullpen is of the starters. I mean, they throw a lot of strikeouts. They don't walk a lot of people, and they get the ball in play and allow Wake's defense, which I think is the most underrated part of this Wake team. Wake over the years under Tom Walter, it's been an offensive juggernaut. They've hit a lot of home runs and hit for power. Now they're hitting for average too, as I mentioned earlier. But their defense is so much better. Up the middle, they're fantastic. Johnson and Houston at second and short, and Tommy Hawk out in center. Bennett Lee's been an unbelievable addition for Wake at catcher. So, from the plate all the way out to the center field wall, their defense has just been fantastic. And, Brock Wilken, whose reputation is that of a hitter, and rightfully so, but he's been fantastic at third base. And Nick Kurtz at first is 6'5" and catches everything. So I just think Wake has so many parts that when they're together and everything's clicking, it is the number one team in the country. I just have not seen a team better than Wake, and we'll see if they can continue to put it together. But I think elite starting pitching, very, very solid bullpen, and all the rest that we've talked about is the reason why Wake is where it is, with 50 wins already going into the weekend.
No question, 50-10. They're 30-3 at the friendly confines over there in Winston-Salem. So it's going to be a crazy atmosphere, as we said. They've got 5 guys with double-digit home runs. Nick Kurtz is one of those guys. He came in as one of the favorites for ACC Player of the Year. Certainly lived up to that, no doubt about it. And yet they're so good, he doesn't even lead the team in home runs. We've already talked about Brock Wilken, who could set the ACC record. So this is a great ball club, no doubt about it. They've had a special season, and I think it was cathartic for them in a way to face Maryland and have success in the regional after what happened in College Park a year ago.
Yeah, this didn't have a good taste in their mouths after getting knocked out of the College Park Regional last year. But you have to tip your cap to Maryland last year. I mean, they just played better, and and I think the way the Deacs got knocked out of the ACC tournament, that's kind of a different format. It's a pod system. Lost the semifinal game and you're out. Signal elimination. And Miami just played really, really well. They had 2 or 3 Sports Center type plays defensively where Wake was going to, if the ball falls in, and one of those brought a home run back and made an unbelievable catch that cost Wake some runs. But that happens, and Miami played them, outplayed Wake and knocked them out. And I was talking to Coach Walter after that game in the elevator, and he was not very happy. And he's a normal, very affable guy, and he just had this crazy look on his face. He was very upset. And I tapped him on the shoulder and said, look, don't worry about it. Just, gives you a couple extra days to get ready for the NCAA tournament. And the only thing he said was, we'll be ready. And wow, was Wake ready this past weekend. And, the game against Maryland that they won 21-6, there's almost a 5-hour weather delay because of lightning, a game that didn't start until 11:15 Eastern time. And finished at 2:06 in the morning, and the Deacs just came on, and Louder was nearly perfect. Deacs got 4 runs in the first inning and never looked back and won 21-6. And that was just kind of in a nutshell, in a in a 3-hour window. It just looked like a team that was laser focused on getting out of that regional and getting into the super regional, where you're two games away of making the College World Series. So, we'll see how the series shakes out with Alabama. Don't know that much about the Tide other than they're in the super regional, and that means you're not only you're good, but you're playing well, and everybody at this point is playing good baseball and has good players, and so that's why you line it up and play between the lines and see who for 2-3 days is the better team, and that's what you do, and we'll see this weekend.
We certainly will. It'll be an outstanding series, and Alabama's an older club. Stan, they've got, just like because of COVID, they've got a lot of they've got 13 seniors, and their lineup is old. And I think going into the year, I think that's why everybody thought they had a chance to be good. But they've been even better than I thought because, like everyone, it seems like in college baseball, they've had their injuries on the mound, but they've had guys get healthy at the end of the year. The bullpen's kind of transformed, as I mentioned earlier in the conversation. It's different now. They have a high-level closer in Alton Davis, but they're going to have to, give him a lead to work with. It's going to be tough against Wake Forest with all that pitching that the Demon Deacons have and that offense. It's, as we said, probably the most well-rounded team in the country, no doubt about it. And I guess what for you, you've been doing this a long time. You've been around this program. What has kind of set this team apart from Tom Walters' others, including the one, as you said, that was 1 out away from going to Omaha back in 2017 in Gainesville?
Yeah, Drew, I think it's easy. I don't know about easy, but it's cliche to say, well, this team takes on the personality of its coach. But I think in this case at Wake, this year especially, I think that really rings true. Tom Walters, one of the better human beings I've ever met. He's just a quality person, and he really is a guy that is confident but not cocky. And I think he always respects his opponents and the young men that are playing on the other side and the entire dugout. And I think this Wake Forest roster, this team from top to bottom, from a guy like Wilkin, who's the star, or Rhett Lauder, who's a star on the mound, to the guy that doesn't play at all, I think from top to bottom, they appreciate the opportunity they have to play college baseball. I think they appreciate the opportunity.
Did we lose you, Stan? I think we may have lost Stan Cotton. We'll see if we can get him back on the Neighbors Wealth Management hotline and see if he can get. We can finish the conversation. It was going to be the last couple of minutes to finish. He was just giving us some thoughts on Wake Forest and finishing up his the thoughts on Tom Walters' group and telling us basically what the key was going to be for Wake Forest and winning this series and what had made this team so special. Hopefully we can get him back for a couple of minutes to finish his thoughts on Wake
Senior
Forest.
To pick up the young guy who's, all of a sudden maybe in the screws of a pressure situation that he's not ever faced before. And so those things just go back and forth, and I think they just play together as a team and do as best they can in a 3-hour window, pick it up, take their cleats off, put them on the next day and try it again. And that's worked really, really well. They've not lost a series all season long. They've not lost back-to-back games all season long.
Wow.
And I think there's a reason for that. And I think it's just the way they play the game. And I'd be shocked if they didn't give a good account of themselves this weekend. Doesn't mean they're going to win the series, but I think Wake will play well.
Well, Stan, it's been an honor, man. We appreciate the time. We know you have a very busy schedule. I hope you have a great call, and it certainly could be groundbreaking for Wake Forest, trying to win the second national championship in school history and get back to Omaha, which would be very cathartic for them. Alabama hasn't been since 1999. Played for it all a couple times in 83 and 97, but it's been a long drought for them as well. Should be a great series between two programs that are very hungry to get back to the biggest stage in college baseball, but it's certainly been an outstanding year and a breakthrough one for Wake Forest. We appreciate it and continued success, and thank you for joining us. And certainly you broadcast some national championships before in your days with Carson Newman and Marshall on the football field. Maybe this might be the year for the Deacs.
Well, it'd be a great one to add to the deal. You got to get through this weekend first, so we'll see. Seen a lot in my day, but not a World Series. That would be an awful lot of fun, and we certainly hope it shakes out for the Deacs. But you go play and see who's the better team for the weekend, and we'll see how it shakes up coming up here in a few days.
Well, thank you, Stan. We appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks for the invite. Anytime.
That's Stan Cotton, and they are going to be trying to get back to Omaha. Sorry, we thought we lost him there for a second. Sometimes there's some gremlins. But, again, thanks for Stan for staying with us. That was some great stuff, talking Wake Forest baseball. And we're going to go on a break, and we're going to wrap up this edition of the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio. I'm D Squared.
The Blitz has been called.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
To celebrate the Olympic Games, Bridgestone is giving away prizes. You could instantly win a $10,000 Bridgestone Visa prepaid card and other great prizes every day when you buy a set of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires. Stop by Firestone Complete Auto Care today. No purchase necessary. Open to legal U.S. residents 18 and older. Limit 2 entries per person. Ends August 21st. For official rules and to enter without purchase, visit BridgestoneWin.com. Limit one $10,000 Visa prepaid card daily fulfilled by mail. Prizes awarded subject to verification. Visa prepaid card may be used anywhere Visa debit cards are accepted. Cards issued by the Bancorp Bank, member FDIC, under license from Visa USA Inc. Neither Bancorp Bank nor Visa USA Inc. are a sponsor of or affiliated with this promotion.
Napa know-how.
Smartphone speakers. They're about as effective as chopping firewood with a butter knife. A rusty, dull butter knife. So pick up a wireless Bluetooth speaker at Napa for just $26.99. With a rechargeable battery, 33-foot range, and rugged waterproof case, it does the one thing your phone is terrible at: play music. The Napa Bluetooth speaker, now just $26.99. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 8/31/16.
The new Cheeseburger Bobby's on Carl T. Jones Drive in South Huntsville is focused on serving great food prepared with the absolute freshest ingredients, featuring classic hamburgers and cheeseburgers with lots of specialty options, chicken and hot dogs, even turkey burgers and veggie burgers, along with fresh cut fries, onion rings, or coleslaw. Always fresh, never frozen, except for the frozen custard. See all the delicious options at Cheeseburger Bobby's for yourself. Check out the menu and more at cheeseburgerbobbies.com.
Welcome back to the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio. Big thanks to Stan Cotton. For 27 years, the voice of the Demon Deacons. We're talking football, basketball, baseball. It's going to be at David F. Couch Ballpark. Going to be a crazy atmosphere. It is already sold out, not surprisingly. Third Super Regional appearance, but, and this time Wake is hosting it. They were in Gainesville in 2017, nearly won that one, but the Gators came back, won it dramatically, and then won the national championship. Wake Forest is on the short list for favorites this year. As we said, no number one team has won it all since Miami in '99, but they're in the ACC. Perhaps, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons can do it, and it would be their first trip since 1955. And it would be Stan Cotton's first time going to Omaha. So potentially Wake Forest could win the Super Regional. But Alabama going for, a remarkable run of their own under an interim head coach. They haven't been since '99. This would be really a great run for Alabama, too. So it's really a fascinating series above the 1 versus the 16. I do think Alabama is better than the 16 seed, but now they got a chance to prove it and go try to slay the dragon, and known as Wake. Wake is as balanced a team as any in the country. You heard Stan say that, and certainly the Wake Forest Demon Deacons are going to be a very formidable opponent with the offense they have, the 5 guys in double digits home runs, and then, of course, that pitching staff with a 2.78 team ERA. And in this era of college baseball, that's just unheard of. What a team they've got, and what a job in his 14th season that Tom Walter has done for Wake Forest baseball. And as we said, they were super impressive in the Wake Forest Regional over in Winston-Salem as they dispatched of Maryland and George Mason very, very efficiently. But we want to thank you for joining us again. Don't forget our sponsor, alumnihall.com. Don't forget an Alumni Hall. Don't forget to patronize them. Don't forget about the afternoon blitz with the Bandyman Bailey Lowry, Captain Cool John Abraham from 2 to 4. And download our app, the Google Store, the Apple Store, and continue to enjoy the Blitz Sports Radio. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, everyone. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 9 a.m.